feel very privileged to be here with Judy to share about and honor and celebrate the recipient of this year's Ekopia Lifetime Achievement Award.
Whoops. Back one. There we go.
Well, maybe we don't need to say much after that, but we're going to anyway. So Alec arrived here as a young man in his 20s. Kathy? in 1981. Apparently, he was a geographer, or at least so he told us a couple of weeks ago at the Community Learning Circle that focused on the economic history and development of the community. I had thought, as some of his public profiles say, that he was a research assistant at the Department of Management Studies at the University of Glasgow, where he has received a Master in Philosophy degree in Town and Regional Planning in 1979. Be that as it may, his geographical talents certainly helped him navigate and structure the changing financial management landscape of its community and its connections with the world. He joined the accounts department, and from all accounts, pun intended, was a godsend. The accounting system up to that point had apparently consisted of two drawers. The right-hand drawer was for incoming checks and money in hand, and the left-hand drawer for payments due. The hall was being built during that time, and Lyle Schnott, who was in charge of the process, would come in and ask how much was in the right-hand drawer. And if there was money there, he would basically take most of it. There was a collective faith that the money would appear for what was needed.
However, the financial situation of the community wasn't really quite so wonderful. An expansion throughout the decade of the 70s, houses and properties achieved and brought into the fold, as it were, as well as the construction of the Universal Hall, meant that there was an increasing level of debt. The guest numbers had begun to decline. And one day, the bank manager called, warning us that the community was on the verge of bankruptcy. Shortly after, a cultural shift was necessary. And Alex, together with Francois Duquesne and Giles Chitty, was instrumental in bringing about a more worldly system of accounting that helped us get the ship back on track. And then came the purchase of the caravan park in 1983, and that again changed the financial landscape. Shortly afterwards, this photograph appeared in a One Earth magazine article, and it was about improving the financial situation and what the accounts department had achieved. To make the photograph a little more interesting, Alex, as the focalizer of the department, along with Debbie Wilkinson and Vita Duval, set up this image outside the then home of the accounts department, which was next door to the sanctuary. Despite what this looks like, a fairly chaotic situation, things were actually working pretty well. and this photograph represents an apt description of the process, order coming out of chaos. From then onwards, Alec has been deeply involved with a variety of existing and new organizations that have helped our community expand and grow. He has been instrumental in initiating and nurturing new directions and exploring new possibilities. His ability to translate vision into financial and legal structures has been invaluable throughout the 40+ years that he has been fostering thriving, healthy community, not just here on our peninsula, but throughout Scotland.
It's impossible, actually, to mention all the pies his fingers have been in. But hopefully we'll be able to touch on at least most of them. And hopefully we've gathered the facts accurately. Forgive us, Alec, and everyone else if this is incorrect. Okay, 80s. So throughout the 80s, Alec was focalizer of the accounts department and part of the foundation management team. In 1983, he became director of New Findhorn Directions, a position he held until 2 years ago. NFD is the foundation's wholly owned trading subsidiary. And in 1986, he also became a foundation trustee, a role he held for 8 years. Another aspect of Alec became evident in 1987-88 when he took a starring role in Jeremy Slocum's annual Christmas play. These were always takeoffs of current community events based on one or other well-known movie. That year, the play was The Wizard of Us, in which I have to say I played Dorothy, and which Alec was not the Tin Man, but the Cash Man. And following not the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. Instead, we were following the tentative plan. Follow the tentative plan, follow the tentative plan, as indeed we all were, with Alec leading the way.
So on to the, obviously a sensitive. All will be well.
I think the next one is.
On to the 90s. This is a decade in which Alex launched himself as an author and an editor, with the publication of The Kingdom Within. This book, I feel in my heart of hearts, is an invaluable compilation of articles and writings that cover the history and development of the settlement to that point. I think the book is a tribute to Alec as a historian and as a scholar. I think it continues to serve those who need a reference point for new arrivals, or people who want to understand a little bit better the first 3.5 decades of the development of our community. As an aside, however, I would also say that if you think our current decision-making structures or procedures are a little bit convoluted or confusing, you might be interested in reading one of the chapters in Alec's book. It's called The Problem of Individual Empowerment versus Collective Responsibility. Oh, gosh. The secrets are out, Alex. A further aspect of his being can be glimpsed in another book called The Dream Club, published in 2002 under the pseudonym of Alistair Glass. The book is set in a place simply called the Peninsula, and it bears a remarkable resemblance to the physical location we all find ourselves in today. Reading it, you will get a true sense of Alex's sense of humor. In the latter years of the decade of the 90s, Alex took on the role of the chair of management of the Findhorn Foundation, occupying that for about 3 years. And in that time, it was a profound period of reinvention and the restructuring of governance and the way that we made decisions, hence the chapter in the book that I just mentioned. The 90s also saw him overseeing the movement out of NFD of a number of organizations that were operating within that company. This included the Findhorn Press and AES. Another of those organizations was the Phoenix Shop, which David Hoyle was the manager of at that time, and he envisioned it as being owned by the community as a whole. Together, David and Alex masterminded the creation of Ekopia as what we would now call a community benefit society. In 2001, Ekopia came into existence with Alex as his chair, a position he still holds today. The man understands longevity. Shortly afterwards, the Eco was launched, and as far as we know, it's the oldest scheme of its kind in the UK.
If we were to go into all of the projects that have emerged through the support and guidance of Ekopia, we would all be very late for dinner. So there's time constraints here, but some projects bear mentioning to give you a flavor. So as chairman of Ekopia, Alec has worked with a wide range of partners at different points to raise funds, to support community enterprises, often helping to create new structures to hold these enterprises. This, as I think, is one of his key gifts and capacities. So these included the creation of the Title Holders Association in 2004, the Wind Park in 2005, of which Alex is a director, investments in NFD, Eco Chalets, and Newbold, enabling the purchase of Station House from the foundation and transferring its ownership into a housing cooperative, launching financing to support the Moray Steiner School, and more recently buying Drumdoon House to save the school from going into administration. The school has now bought the house back. It's also enabled financing. Ekopia has also enabled financing for Trees for Life and the Hive buildings, and buying the Art Center through community share issues. Ekopia also supported the community's first Dragon's Den. And speaking of dragons, another of Alex's major accomplishments was serving as a number of years as Dungeon Master for the Teenagers Dungeons and Dragons group.
Yeah. Alex's passion for and dedication to social justice and community benefit have been vital in making affordable housing accessible within our community. Those of you who were here this morning will have heard some of how that came about. His commitment to affordable housing has been extraordinary, not only in our community, but throughout Scotland. He has woven together local and national, has traveled across Scotland multiple times, attending meetings and advocating for affordable housing and the notion of community. In 2008, Richard Lockheed, who was MSP, and at the time was Cabinet Secretary for Rural Affairs and the Environment, invited Alex to join the Rural Development Council, which advises the Scottish Government on rural issues. This work directly contributed to the creation of something called the Scottish Rural Housing Fund. It is this fund from which the team of Park Eco-Village Trust, NFD, and Ekopia have secured substantial public funding for affordable housing from the WINS development onward. Without Alex, our community would have had very little knowledge of that fund. His relationship with the Scottish Government team, as well as the local Moray Council, have been key to unlocking and facilitating our success with affordable housing, enabling us to handle housing allocation ourselves using our own requirements. Apparently that's quite unusual. Alex continues to be an essential part of that team. By next year, they will have secured funds for 32 housing projects in our community.
In addition to his time on the Rural Development Council, he also served for 22 years as a board member of the Development Trusts Association in Scotland. While there, he played a key role in community-based buyouts of the Isle of Eigg in 1997 and the Isle of Giga 2002. Throughout the years, he's also lectured widely on the prospects for a low-carbon economy and the philosophy of sustainability. Although he has held a multitude of high-responsibility positions, he maintains a quiet, in-the-wings rather than in the spotlight persona. So many will be unaware of the debt we owe him, that we owe you, Alec, for so much of what we take for granted today. Hopefully today will change that.
In 2016, Alex gave a TED Talk here in the hall, in which he quoted Jeremy Slocum, and you can read the quote there. "The universe responds to action. Individuals respond to love. And crucially, community responds to clarity. Alex brings that particular quality of clarity into all that you do. And we have benefited hugely as a consequence. So, on that note of our gratitude and our appreciation and the myriad of ways that you have contributed and made the community that we live in today possible, on behalf of the community and all of those both near and far who you have served, Alec, it is with huge pleasure and abundant gratitude that we present you with this year's Ekopia Lifetime Achievement Award 2025.
Is this on?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very touched, very honored, thank you all. I need to say, I suppose, a few words of thanks. If I were to start thanking people individually, we would be here for an awfully long time. The first thank you I think I need to offer is to the organising committee of this wonderful day, who have been kind enough to give me the award and have entertained you, I think, royally and educated you today. So I don't know if anyone else has this task, but it doesn't hurt to do it twice. If you're on the organising committee, could you stand up and we'll appreciate you. The second group of people I need to thank are all my many colleagues and supporters over the years. I mean, there have been a number of organisations here, as you know, that I've been involved in that have done, I hope, some good and useful things for the community and elsewhere. But as is surely obvious, I didn't do this all myself. And I want to thank all of you who I've served with on boards and committees, people who've offered me quiet words of encouragement and support over the years, because that's been absolutely invaluable. You all will be familiar with the little expression that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, my experience is that it takes an eco-village to raise a social enterprise. So thank you all for your help. I think, finally, I want to thank all of you, even those of you who I don't really know very well or haven't really spent much time working with. And the reason for that is because for those of you who have not been here very long, it may be hard to travel back so far in time. And when I arrived here in 1981, the interior of this building looked very much as it does today, although some of us will remember the dreadful pink ring beams. But the community itself is changed out of all recognition. Back in those days, there were 1 or 2 organizations, not the 50 or more that have been represented here today. There were more electric typewriters than there were computers. The 2 computers that we had, there was a very primitive little program on them called VisiCalc, which was a kind of spreadsheet, which perhaps 2 or 3 people in the community knew how to use. It was a very, very different era. And looking around the room at the incredible amount of expertise and knowledge and commitment and passion and skill, it is just absolutely overwhelming for me to see what has been achieved over these past 40 years by all of us who have lived here and by all of you who I'm sure will continue to, what's the right phrase, to turn all those nasty little linear squiggly lines into something warm and cuddly and nurturing and sustainable for those of you who saw Donnie's talk this morning. Thank you all once again so very much indeed.
And for those of you who would like to know more about Alex,
Today was tip of the iceberg.
there's not much to say anymore. And I think we'd just like to say thank you very much for being here and for enjoying the day. And I think we can officially say the fact that the Enterprise Fair 2025 is complete. And for those of you who have the stamina and energy, there will be music here from 7. So do come along and twist a bit, yeah. But yeah, so thank you very much. And yeah, there's not much to say. That's all. Oh, well. I forgot one thing. It was all the volunteers. If you could stand up, everyone that's part of the team, please stand up. We counted. All in all, we had about 22 volunteers for this event, and it's been an amazing team. And I think we'd just like to thank everybody for being involved. And yeah, watch the space. And 2026, here we come. Thank you.